with a fantastic story out of Forbes magazine. This is fantastic. Here it is. Wealth has many perks. Don't I know it? Great vacations, beautiful houses, nice cars. But if it's marital bliss you're looking for, don't expect money to help. Almost half of America's rich say they're unhappy in marriage. This according to a study. What's worse, says here, more than that, say they've been unfaithful in the last 3 years. More than half. And get this. Of those confessing to an affair, more were women, 61%, than men, 43%. The reason cited most frequently by both sexes? Not what you expect. You know what the reason is? Variety. This according to Prince and Associates, a Connecticut firm that tracks the habits of the rich. They asked 433 breadwinners, 56% male, 44% female, with a net worth of over $1 million, about their relationships. 38% of the participants had a net worth of $10 million or more. It says here it's probably not a surprise that 30% of Prince's survey group said they were considering a divorce. Most men responding to the Prince and Associates survey, 75%, said cost is their main obstacle to getting a divorce, and 61.5% said they feared it would hurt business dealings and opportunities. Just 7.7% of men cited harm to the kids. You see, the dirty little secret that many men will never admit to because it is so horrific, so awful, it would curl everybody's hair at the same time. And it's really horrible. I do believe that most men who have kids believe that's the price of admission. To have security, to have marriage, to have somebody stay with you. Women want kids, and we gotta give them what they want. And that's why only 7.7% of men cited harm to the kids as a reason not to get a divorce. And I don't think most men care that much. I hate to say it. No, I love to say it. The story continues. It says here, Raul Felder, the celebrity divorce attorney, says this makes a lot of sense, particularly if you have a lot of money and a lot to lose. For starters, there's this whole thing about equitable division of the assets. Equitable. I put that in quotes, even though Forbes didn't. And in many marriages, the assets were accumulated after the I do's were said, making them fair game to be divvied up. Felder says divorce itself is a businessman's biggest deal, the biggest deal he'll ever do. He's going to lose half of what he has. But financially independent women were no less practical in their answers. The biggest obstacle cited was interference with business dealings, 51%, followed by cost, 42.8%, and even with women, these are rich women now, just 14% said they feared divorce because it would hurt the kids. Says here that men and those with assets of more than $10 million were more inclined to say marriage had hindered their financial success. I'm going to repeat that, boys. These are people who are rich. Like I'm rich, okay? Men and those with assets of more than $10 million were more inclined to say marriage had hindered their financial success. When I tell you women are dream killers, this is what I'm talking about. It says here 53% of men said so as opposed to 41% of women. 53% of the men surveyed. 53%. Once again, empirical evidence of what I've been telling you. It's one thing to hear it from me. This is a survey of hundreds of rich people. And 53% of the men said that marriage had hindered their financial success, as opposed to 41% of women. By the way, 75% of those, whether they were men or women, who had more than $10 million agreed, as opposed to 30.6% of those with less than $10 million of assets. By the way, you may not be surprised to know that according to this story in Forbes, it seems like many people plan for eventual separation. About 56% of the women in this survey said they had hidden or protected assets, while 36% of the men said they had done so. Those with more than $10 million were more than 3 times as likely to have hidden or protected assets. It's that 10 million mark, apparently. Wow. It goes on to say in the piece, what's telling is the low number of survey respondents, even among the very rich who said they had prenuptial agreements in place. Just 5.8% for the survey as a whole and 11% for those with more than $10 million of assets. Post-nuptial agreements were only slightly more common, 8.3% for the survey as a whole. And most of those were in the $10 million plus camp. We've talked about post-nuptial agreements on the air. It says here that more of those respondents, the ones in the 10 million plus camp, were unhappy in marriage. This goes back to something I have said to you on the air many, many times, and I know you don't want to hear it. I know you don't want to hear it. Especially if you're in the sub-$1 million club like most people are. I've said many times, marriage is for poor people. Marriage is for the losers, the unsuccessful. The kind of people who get married because the rent would be cheaper. Or because they think they'd be splitting expenses. I mean, marriage is no more than like a roommate finding service that you would see on the internet or pick up one of those little circulars around town. Like we have that rent times around L.A., you know. I mean, it's like you need a roommate to cut costs. So you marry somebody, and in addition to cutting costs, you, at least at the beginning, have sex with them. Then the price of admission is having children with them. The rich want variety, and the rich can afford it. I've said this repeatedly. Marriage is for poor people. The first time I got married, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. The second time I got married, my net worth was under $80,000. The third time I got married, it wasn't much better. And the fourth time I got married, well, let's just say that my net worth is 20, 30 times what it was the fourth time I got married. And now marriage doesn't look very appealing to me anymore. It doesn't look appealing to me because I don't need to cut costs. I don't need to split expenses. I can do this all by myself. And yes, I have found women in marriages to be a hindrance to the career. Yes, I have. Now, maybe men are a hindrance to women's careers. I don't know. I've never dated a man or married one. But speaking as a man, I have found that women can get in the way. They can be passive-aggressive. They can be very annoyed at the times you need to have your boss over or you need to have a client dinner or a client lunch. They can complain and demand that you curtail your schedule or just complain in general. Raising the stress level. Making it harder to deal with going into work and working every day. That's why I'm unmarried today. I'm unmarried today because I don't need marriage. I don't need somebody to split the expenses with. I don't need that. Isn't it interesting, as people move up the financial scale, marriage is more of a hindrance to business. People want more variety because they can afford it. And the reality is people just keep getting married stupidly, when in reality, the only people who should be getting married are people poor enough that they need a roommate to split the expenses with. I really think that's the way, well, certainly for men. Don't these numbers tell you something?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
My husband told me that as long as I use protection, and I do tell him that I can sleep with anybody I want to.
What time can I come over?
I'm on my way home now. You can meet me there.
Excellent. The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. David on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
What's going on, Father?
Not much. Do a little radio program here.
And you are doing a fine job at it, sir. Let me tell you what.
Why, thank you.
I moved down to Los Angeles 3 years ago. I actually got turned on to your show by a girl down here and started listening religiously. I listen to what you say, and I soak it all up, and I can't help but preach it to my friends. And it kind of jades my view towards my core group of friends. I've started reevaluating who my core friends are and what they stand for and their reasons for being in relationships and their reasons for getting married. And I think you're 100% right. I have dismissed some of my friends because, personally, I think they're pussies. They're getting pussy whipped, and they're just quitting.
I totally agree with that. And, you know, the fact is that a lot of times when people get married, they get into relationships, they bounce all their unmarried friends anyway. So a lot of these guys you're being friendly with, they've just bolted.
Yeah, they get, you know, their wives don't want them hanging around me because they know I go out. They know I pull chicks. They know that if they let their husbands go out with me, that more times than not, if I'm pulling up chicks, there's going to be another girl with her, and, you know, I'm going to get my buddy to hook up with her. Not, you know, force him or anything, but you know how it goes. You bring a wingman out, and, you know, he gets some too. So they don't like me very much. So it's time that I start evaluating what's going on with my life and who my true friends are, because I'm going to be there for people who are like me and who believe in what I believe in and what I think. And so I just think a lot of men out there need to, you know, listen to you more religiously and listen to what the callers have to say. I listen to you religiously, like I said, and I think when I talk about you to some people, they don't like you in general, and I could see why. I really like you, but I like to listen to what the callers have to say because I believe there's a lot to learn from other people's mistakes.
Oh, I think that's true. I think there is a lot to learn, and you hear the people who make these mistakes all the time. Here, in fact, I'm going to stay on the line, David. Let's bring one of these people on right now. At least he doesn't know he's making a mistake, but let's bring him on and let's see what he has to say. Tim?
That's my name.
You disagree with both me and David. Tell us why.
You guys, I mean, come on, man. Marriage is in its truest form is not a financial institution. It's an emotional and a spiritual event. And I mean, finances may become involved, but it's not the primary. It's not what marriage is about. Marriage is about finding someone that you want to spend your life with, and doing that. And I mean, Tom, to be honest with you, man, I don't know who in the right mind would take marriage advice from you when you've been through 4 already.
I'm not giving marriage advice. I'm giving not getting married advice. I'm telling people don't get married.
Tom is giving business advice. And when you get married, Tim, it's a merging of 2 corporations. Now, if you merge with a nonprofit organization, what are you doing? You're paying her half. You're paying for everything. Tim, you sound like a pussy. How old are you?
I would pay her 100% because she means that much to me.
Tim, you're a pussy. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Yeah, Tim, you don't know S, all right? You're 22. You got a girlfriend,
Right.
Tim?
I have a fiance. I'm getting married.
You're a pussy.
All right. Hey, thanks for your advice, man.
Yeah, get off the phone, Tim.
All right. You'd probably be the last person I'd be taking advice from anyhow.
Oh, well, Tim, you're just going to find out the hard way down the road. You're 22. You're too young to know any better. Do you have a prenup? Of course you don't. Because you're in love. This is the love that's going to last a lifetime, Tim. This is a love that will outdo any other love. Because to their financial success, 53% of the men with assets more than $10 million said marriage had hindered their financial success. Robert on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
How you doing there, Tom?
Great.
Yeah, I was listening to your show. I don't catch you too much, but once in a while I like to listen to some pretty crazy dudes on the radio, and I guess you're one of them. But my thing was, you said people that got married were either poor or stupid.
No, I said that's the only people who should get married are people who are poor or stupid.
Okay, well, the poor, I understand that.
I mean, but by the way, plenty of rich people get married. That's why they had this survey. This was a survey of married people with high net worth.
I hear you. But, I mean, if being stupid is having 3 beautiful children, beautiful wife, I have bills up the ass, that I deal with on a daily basis. That's the beauty of it, is having those...
That's the beauty of it, having bills up the ass?
The beauty is the struggle of life, is just struggling.
What is so beautiful about that?
It's beautiful that I have to wake up and there's always something for me to do the next day.
Isn't that wonderful? Well, my dad, you know what? I'm speaking from experience on this. My father had that same beautiful life of never, ever having the bills paid, always being broke, always being poor. Until he had about 61 years old and he had colon cancer. And it turned out that his insurance ran out. He used about $1 million in insurance on surgery and chemotherapy and radiation treatments and what have you. And there he was being treated for cancer while he had to take a job at a liquor store to make ends meet in his 60s. So he would watch the register, and then if nobody was there, he'd run upstairs to throw up from the chemo. So this wonderful life you're living only works as long as you don't have a calamitous situation, like you get really sick or you get hit by a bus, and then you're really going to pay for all this beauty.
Now, this is the thing. It's just the way you put marriage down. I mean, if I didn't get married, doesn't mean I was going to become a rich man. Not every person.
No one said that. That's my point. My point is, if you're not planning on being successful, I guess marriage might be right for you. But if you're planning on being successful,
but it doesn't work out for everybody in those terms. But the thing is, there's nothing more rich or more beautiful than marriage or having children. Waking up Saturday morning and having your children jump in your bed. And that's the beauty of it. Well, now, you put marriage down.
But the point is, you don't have to get married. You don't have to get married. You don't have to get married to have that.
And just keep raising our children without their father and their mother in the same home.
Well, actually, many people do that.
Exactly. That's why society is the way it
by
is.
the way, you could, if you had to, you could live with your wife without being married, and therefore not be financially liable down the line if things don't work out.
All right, just test drive it, and there you go. Test drive a family, a wife, kids, and then if you don't like it, hey, take off.
I'd rather lease than buy.
That's nice. So, do you have children, Tom?
Nope.
Thank God, brother.
By design.
Thank God there's only one of you on the face of the earth.
By design. Don't worry. I've got a nephew. My brother's son.
Sure that was
my brother's son is my spitting image, and you know what? He'll inherit the throne one day. I'm telling you right now.
I'm sorry for his family, brother.
Don't worry. Everything will continue.
Hey, you have a nice day.
You too. There he goes. Another guy. Oh, yeah. It's the beauty part. The beauty part is having all those bills that I never pay. That's beautiful. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Joe on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Father.
Hello, son.
How the heck are you?
Doing great.
I just wanted to comment. I'll be 25 next week. I got married. At 21. I'm a professional poker player now, and being married was, honest to God, probably the worst thing in the world. It was really a hindrance on myself emotionally and myself financially. I play cash games, so I don't play tournaments, so I don't have the government regulating how much I'm making. But this broad went to the extent to subpoena my deposit records at the casino, and she just destroyed me. Just destroyed me.
Uh-huh.
And, I'll admit, I was a pussy. I'm not afraid to admit that. I did not listen to you. I wish I listened to you 4 years ago. I wish. It was a catastrophe. It was really a catastrophe. And I just wanted to let you know, I totally agree with what you're saying. I love your show. And those last two callers, a bunch of pussies. Give them a Vicodin.
Well, of course,
me up, Tom. Blow me up.
They're married. They have to defend it. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Connor on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, how are you, Tom?
Great.
I am not married, and I'm here to defend marriage. Not necessarily defend it in the way that you think I'm going to defend it. I want to say you talk about it like it's a bad thing, period. If you're successful, it's bad. If it's the only way it's good is if you're unsuccessful and poor. And I was listening to your little. Well, first off, let me say this. I think a lot of your opinions are disgusting. I don't agree with a lot of them, but at the same time, you back them with evidence. You back them with, experience, and I respect you for that. So I do listen to your show. I listen to it almost every day. But this evidence that you brought forth, this 53% of men saying that marriage was a hindrance or whatever.
Well, I see, again, you're misquoting what I said. It's 53% of men with net worths over $10 million.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that's 53%. There's still another 47%. That's half and half.
Well, we don't know that it's half and half. I don't know if some of them said, I don't know, or I don't have an opinion. I don't know. I just know the number who said, by the way, that's more than half. More than half of the men surveyed said that women were a financial hindrance to their success.
But, that saying that money is the only important thing in someone's life, if that's the way it is, then sure, then yeah, 53% of men would say that.
It's not the only thing. It's just a very important thing.
I agree. But at the same time, you've got, like that one last guy was saying, kids, and I'm not saying kids aren't expensive. I'm not saying a wife isn't expensive, but the love that comes with it, the partnership, as long as you find someone you like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of crazy.
You can have a relationship without getting married.
Right. But, what if you want to stay with that one person for the rest of your life?
You can do that without signing a contract.
Then why not sign a prenup, and then you got every problem solved?
Well, you could sign a prenup, but you don't have a problem solved because you still have to agree to give up a certain amount of your wealth when you split up.
All right. The point I was trying to make is just you talk in absolutes a lot, and I'm sure you're willing to admit that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Some things are absolutely wrong.
So marriage is always absolutely wrong
for men. For men,
wrong,
it's not wrong for women, and I do think there's a benefit for children, but not for men.
Now, Tom, what if the woman is the wealthy one in this situation? What if their net worth is way higher?
Generally, as we have read the statistics about that on the air, no matter how much money women make, they generally marry guys who make more than they do, not less.
I guess the facts don't lie then, Tom.
Damn straight they don't. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Rachel on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Me and my boyfriend have been trying to think of we feel like we want to be with each other for, forever. Since I met him, I got that gut feeling that, like, that was the person that I could definitely marry. And I hadn't felt like that before with anybody else. And now...
Yeah, but you're only 24 years old.
I know. I was in a long relationship before him, so that's different. But, and we aren't planning on getting married now or anything like that.
How many relationships have you had? Relationships?
2.
2. So that's your vast experience.
Yes.
So, you had one before this one, and now you say, well, I've never felt that before. But you only had one other relationship.
I understand that.
So you really don't have the experience to judge.
That's fair, yeah. But my question to you is, what is your opinion on what if we want to have a ceremony, like we would want to have a celebration, declare, that we are committed to each other and all of that, but then without actually getting legally married? What's your opinion on that?
Well, you can do that, but if you were the guy, I would remind the guy that he should see an attorney before he does that. Because in some states, doing that would possibly put you in jeopardy for paying alimony because they would say, well, you gave the appearance of being married, so therefore you were married.
Mm.
So I wouldn't do that before consulting with an attorney, and you live here in California. I would consult with a local attorney.
Okay, that's interesting because, like, the money-wise, I'm planning on making a good salary in my career. He has money. I have money. So, just as much as I wouldn't want him to have to lose his money and give it to me, I wouldn't want to do the same back. So we're pretty even on that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well...
And probably a good idea, if that's your plan, to one of you buy the house.
Okay.
And the other live in it.
Okay, yeah. We definitely...
One of you buy the furniture. This is how I've done it in the past, by the way. When I was married, I owned the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the person I was with could live in the house for as long as we were together. And if we were together forever, well, then for that long.
Okay.
And, by the way, it was set up so that if we did stay together forever and I died, she would then inherit the house at that time.
Yeah, because I would want some sort of security, some sort of, like what does it come to if you aren't legally married, but if he has a medical problem and could I be power of attorney?
Well, these are questions for an attorney. You want to go to an attorney that specializes in domestic law.
Okay.
And ask all these questions.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
All right, Rachel. Good luck.
I've been listening for years and years, and I love your show. Thanks.
Why, thank you. Judy on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Yes.
This is regarding the conversation I was hearing with Tim, wanting to get married at 22.
Right.
And all the negativity that he got back. Well, me and my husband got married when we were 17. And we had a lot of hardships and everything, and we lived together, and we struggled and everything else. And we've been married 45 years.
Yes, dear, but 45 years ago, things were very different than they are today. It was the time before text messaging and MySpace and Facebook and emails. It was the time before women would take digital pictures of put it up on the Internet. I mean, this is a different time now.
It's a different time, but
and that is why marriages don't last as long as they did 45 years ago.
Yeah, but it's still, if there's that open communication, that love, and that respect.
But you have no way of knowing if the other person feels that as much as you do.
Then why is he still with me?
We're not talking about you, dear. We're talking about people getting married in the 21st century.
Oh, but I still believe even if these people are young, if they feel the love, they have the respect.
Well, I know you believe that, but that's because you were born a long time ago.